Chief Petty Officer Pat Patillo reporting their state of readiness. Lieutenant Commander Mathers ignites the thunder flash, the bugle blows, the crews take the strain.
The Royal Navy's field gun competition provided twice daily reenactments of a heroic naval action in support of the army at the besieged Ladysmith during the first year of the Boer War in 1899. The Victorian media got into the act too.
The Boer War, that got a lot of publicity and so on, and certainly when the guns were parading in the arena when the Royal Navy got back, they were given a rapturous reception. Everybody was extremely pleased to see them.
When the Chasm was added to an evolving format in 1907, field gun, as we know it, was born.
To the field gunner here year by year, this is his cup final. This is his Twickenham. This is his whatever in any sport. Although we don't class these people as sportsmen, their training is very fierce and very intense, and only the brave do it. Everyone is a volunteer. And that's where the pride and the passion and the enthusiasm comes from.
But to those boys, it was their entire life. It was the reason why many of them joined the Navy. The whole point about the field gun run was that there was total commitment from the men concerned. They would do anything to win. They would break their fingers, they'd break their legs, they'd break their arms. They had to win. But there was a commitment which was what communicated itself to the audience, and that's what made it work.
1999 became the year of Devonport. Along with most of the silverware, they created a new world record, depriving Portsmouth, running in the foreground here, of their 15-year hold on history's fastest time. We'll spend some time with Devonport A crew during the course of this film, as a means of expressing something of what this remarkable team sport actually was. We'll follow them from debrief through all their backstage routines and preparations, en route to their biggest run.
You've got to get your checks in on the ramp. We'll start cutting them ramps up again this afternoon. Sparring ramp was 52.8, down 57.8, action 1 minute dead.
The only thing that's different, on the gun out, when we do the gun out, it looks like the breech is moving to the wall. Jan says, to me, it clears and goes through nice now. Could have done with that, on that hole. The breech could have done with just dragging away from the side of the wall.
I thought the breech clipped the right-hand side of the hole as we looked down the track.
That's what I'm saying. If they do the same on the other holes they've done on that hole.
Well, it was a good recovery anyway, 24.80. Run time was 2:46.2. All right, happy? Right, well done, fellas.
After the debrief, a viewing. Trainers, crew, cigarettes.
Oh, dearie me. Oh, it fell down. Can we watch that again?
34 is the average age of A crew, which is very, very high. Some of the people out there first started running field gun in 1976. You know, we're talking 41-year-olds, and to come out and do this, not so much at Earl's Court, but down in Devonport, day in, day out, 6 days a week, and doing 6 runs a day, it takes an awful lot of dedication. So, yeah, they're an old crew, let's say, but very, very experienced, and that's being shown out in the arena.
Strictly, this is not a young man's game anyway. It's not necessarily an older man's game, but it's a game for someone who's probably more experienced and maybe mature and disciplined, which strictly younger men are not, if you know what I'm saying. Because I was a young man once.
How are you feeling?
Nervous.
Yeah, it's about the time it starts to kick in.
Well, it's just like waiting to get shot in it. I mean, it's not that. It's all right when you're out there, but it's the anticipation of what you're going to do and what they're going to do, and not so much making a mistake, but just going through your drill in your head, like what you've got to do, you know. And if you've had, I mean, I didn't have a particularly good practice period this morning myself, personally. So I'm thinking about that now.
Now you're carrying an injury.
I am.
What tell us about it?
Broken foot. I broke my foot about 4 weeks ago on a training run down in Devonport, and that was it really. I broke my foot. I get a bit of painkiller. That's it. It's eased off now. It's not so bad. It's mind over matter really. I think once the banger goes and you're running down the straight, you don't really feel it. You're thinking, you're too concentrated on what you're doing to even worry about that.
They were laying the foundations of the car park, or the plans were all out, when the Minister of Defence was still denying it was the last year. Do you remember that funny period? Robertson wouldn't, Robertson wouldn't come to terms with it, and wouldn't say it was going to be the last tournament, the last field gun run.
Field gun was staple diet and drew men from across the fleet, as it always would.
I was based with the Royal Marines at 3 Commando Brigade.
How long have you been with them?
I've spent the last 6 years with the Royal Marines.
And that's a pretty testing environment too, I imagine, isn't it?
It certainly is, but it's a different type of testing environment, and these are a very special breed of men, field gunners, who can prove themselves when they go back to the fleet in their own environment.
Time to focus on the next run.
That's where it all starts in here. We all started, like just doing our own little thing, and then around about half hour before the performance starts, we put on a music tape to get ourselves all synchronised in.
There was that lovely story about the field guns. You remember, years and years ago, they brought in a sort of time and motion study on it. Someone thought that they would actually find a better way of doing this, where they could do it quicker or whatever. And so they brought in this professional team of are they called time and motion or whatever they're called? Right. They're these sort of time and motion study people. And they studied the field gun, and they studied it in great length, and they produced their report that said that actually it was impossible to do it as quickly as they were, and therefore it was unlikely they could do it any quicker. Mistakes I made when I first took over the Royal Tournament was it's quite a mistake to actually address the field guns anyway, but I actually addressed the entire field guns, and much on the lines of, well chaps, the great thing about this is it's a show, and we're all here to entertain the audience. Well, of course they could not have cared less. To them it was not a show. To them the audience was completely
It was like
invisible.
Mr. Blair with the Women's Institute.
Yeah, it was the audience was completely invisible. They could not have cared less whether there were no people in the house or whether it was full. All they were interested in was getting their race to work. And if I told them it went over for 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and could they please get on because it's a show, this chaps, they would tell me, or they wouldn't actually tell me, but their eyes would tell me that I could just go and get stuffed, because as far as they were concerned, they were going to do it the way they were going to do it, and that was it.
Well, it's sort of sculpted my life, if you like, over a period of 20 years. It's been good for me. I think it's one of the best leadership courses we've got. It's it just gives us a different person. They go back in the fleet and they are a better person. They're somebody that leads in communication skills. They're key personnel once they leave here.
Ball starts here. What we set out to do, take each one as it comes. This is the next one. This afternoon's run. Nothing else matters. This afternoon's run. Change legs. Deliberate drill. All the time. Do your individual bits of drill. Collectively put together a time that's worthy of this crew. Okay, come out of that. On the road. Stand by.
There are many elements of the tournament which will continue. And around the world,
well,
whenever you see
jumping going,
but there's everything else that was invented for the tournament. There's the show jumping, there's the King's Troop, there's the House Cabaret music, right? There's the Continental Endurance Race, there's the motorcycles. All those things were invented for the tournament. There's not a single act that you see in tattoos anywhere in the world that wasn't invented for the Royal Tournament.
That's right.
And all of them are going and carrying on, and in their different ways they're being done in Canada or in America or in Bahrain or in Jordan or in Oman or wherever else. I mean, and Saudi Arabia. I mean, we've done them all over the place. But the one thing that will never ever be done again is the field gun competition. They tried to do it in Canada, in Nova Scotia. They
tried it in South Africa, it didn't work.
In Nova Scotia, excellent to do actually. And they do a sort of pale imitation of the field guns, but it doesn't even begin. That's the one thing which will never be resurrected. And to resurrect it would take, well, it would be impossible because the connection has gone. The line of, if you like, the line of expertise has gone.
Go! 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 And walk back. Good. Stop switching off the wheel. Come on. It's a nice feeling. Let's keep it there. Be professional. Be clinical. Save again. Jump forward. Stand by. Go! 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 Who's in class? Who's in class?
But when we decided, or we persuaded them that we could have an interval, which of course is unheard of, then that meant that you could move one of your greatest attractions, which was the field gun competition, to the middle of the show, and not waste the time of taking, because it takes about 20 minutes to get it up. So we had an interval of half an hour, which allowed us to put the field gun up, so that the second half could start with the field gun, and that was marvelous because it meant that our most exciting act, or one of the most exciting, could be in the right place in the programme.
A world record time in field gun. There were 10 set during Basil Ritz's time at the tournament.
All right, it's a minor punishment. Sandbag from the shore, across the mud to that first post and back.
In 1978, an initially sceptical BBC producer made a memorable film around Portsmouth field gun and the incredible rigours of training.
So he came and had a good dinner and had a fair bit to drink, and he watched the show, and he went all sort of, sausage joy. He said, Anyway, he turned up the next night, and the next night, and the next night, and the next night, and he became a complete groupie of the field guns.
Come on, get up! Don't get that sandbag dirty!
He got completely mesmerised by the field guns and came back every night thereafter. And this was a chap who you just would not have expected to be so. And he then produced this brilliant film on them.
Good lad, well done, get it back over and strike it up, come on.
Hey, 20, 16, 18. Right, here we are again, fellas. Another day at the office, okay? The machine's still rolling, we've got 4 runs left, okay? You've got to get into it. Okay, the competition doesn't finish till Sunday. What we're going to do now is go out and do what we've done for the past 2 weeks. And that is go out and put it on this display for the Earls Court public. We did it last night, and times are irrelevant. We came out with a decent display run. We do the same again today. Don't forget the goes, loud goes. Big crowd again today, big loud goes so we can hear what you want to do, get pulled out, etc. All right? Switch on all the way out, back and home. Clean, consistent drill. Let's have it. Pop. Okay, straight in, guys. Here we go. Echoes. Change. Knees. Hips. Change. Forward back. And side bends, nice and easy. Toe. And twist. Shoulders forward. And back. Up and down. To right. Here's to shoulders. Come on in, guys, let's get going then. And out, 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 and out. There. Pulls on. 2 more. 1, 2. Pull it back. And out. There. Pulls on. 2 more. 1, 2. Here we go. Stretch your calves and switch on. Start thinking now. Get inside the bubble. Nothing changes. You don't have to chase. You just settle down and do our drill. Change. Nice, consistent, clean, and deliberate. Legs. Change. Up. Yep. Behind. And down. Yep. Behind. And down. Elbows inside and push out. Come on then, let's start working as one. Get together now. Wait! A big chest.
It's a tremendous sport, and for those people who will never know it, they will have missed a tremendous event, because it is a grueling, it is the toughest team sport in the world, and unless you've seen it and experienced it, either at one of the home tracks of one of the crews, or up here at the Royal Tournament, then you really will have missed one of the greatest events and one of the greatest sports of all time.
Forward and roll the shoulders. Roll them, roll them, roll them. Come back. And forward faster. Roll them, roll them. And back. We've done. It's nice. Let's have it a bit higher. Let's build it up. Let's take something out there. Here we go. Work through. Short and sharp. Nice and loud. Stand by. And back, 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 back. 1, 2. Push, 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 push. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2. Feel it, fellas. Let's control it. Let's put it all in the right place. Hands up. Video. Clean, deliberate drill. In. Let's work hard for it though, boys. Let's fucking work hard for it. Come on. Here we go. Come on, let's have it. Come on. Here we come. Let's get it going. Get it going. Build it up. Build it up. Stand by. Stand by. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The Royal Air Force were wanting to pull out of the Royal Tournament from about 1992 onwards. They were really serious about it. And they were only kept in by the promise that the future of the Royal Tournament would be reviewed regularly by all 3 services. And that was really the start of the rot and all these papers being written and so on. And then the Navy started saying, well, they couldn't go on with the field gun race after the turn of the century. And the Army never really came in. The Army would have kept the tournament going if they'd been them alone.
That special breed of men parade on the last night.
Past experience in battle and warfare has shown that the field gunners will come to the forefront in times of need, because they're used to putting themselves into a dangerous environment. Personally, I haven't seen that, but I'm assured from a number of commanding officers who I've spoken to who served in the Falklands that that's the case.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Royal Navy's traditional field gun competition.
You can feel it when we walked in that blue light. You can't explain it. You got to be in amongst the 18.
Yeah, but when you say you can't explain it,
you can't
try to explain it.
When the lads,
when you walked in there, try to explain what you felt about it.
When the blue light comes on, and you march in, you take that first step forward, and every movement, every foot, every movement, every hair, and everybody has got the same movement. Every breath, everybody knows exactly what everybody else is going to do. That is when you've really clicked, and the boys have really put it together. And when you're marching up that straight, you don't give a damn about the crowd or the other crew on the other side. You know you're going to beat them. Because the arms are swinging in time, the feet are hitting the deck at the same time, your head's up, and, you know, there's a big lump in the middle of your throat saying the 18 of yous are one. That's what we all felt tonight. I could feel it.
But what was so wonderful, actually, is in the last year ever of the field gun race, they beat the record, they broke the record.
With just a handful of runs left in the Royal Navy's field gun competition, Devonport took on Fleet Air Arm and the clock. Their old and experienced crew were on the brink of history. Since they joined field gun in 1947, Fleet Air Arm proved to be a brilliantly successful team, establishing a reputation for professionalism and an approach to training altogether different from, say, Portsmouth's traditional and ultra-physical style. Three rounds. Devonport set a new run-out record with 1 minute 20.86 seconds. The world record was on. The run back. Three rounds. And Devonport's split time is 58.65 seconds for the run back, still comfortably faster than average. The run home. Fleet Air Arm sprint for the line, pushing Devonport all the way. The Portsmouth record set in 1984 finally goes. Devonport split for the run home, 20.92 seconds. They've set a new world record time of 2 minutes 40.43 seconds. Nobody has ever run quicker, and nobody ever will. After Portsmouth and Fleet Air Arm completed the last run on that last night in August 1999, the audience sent a message to those responsible for ending field gun.
And what we've described over the years as the toughest team competition in the world marches into history.
So field gun is dead. Long live field gun.
Yes, I understand that today there's a Brickwoods field gun run taking place, and they've certainly been practicing here in their lunch times.
On a flaming day in June 2000 at HMS Collingwood, spitting distance from the naval base at Portsmouth, old field gunners, their families and children mingle amiably, sending profits from the day to a naval and local charities. One man there feels loss of field gun acutely, a Portsmouth Chief Petty Officer. He'd run in the 1984 World Record crew, whose record stood almost to the very end. Given the intense rivalry between the crews, Pat Patilla, now out of the Navy, had much to come to terms with.
I did that in 1984 in one of the practice runs down in Portsmouth, and made an elementary error, didn't listen to my trainer, and I took my finger off. It's sad, but it happened. I made a mistake, put my hand in the wrong position, and off it went.
Crew rivalry was legendary, but now?
If I'm very honest, I think Devonport were probably the best field gun crew I've ever seen up there.
Your own record finally went, didn't it?
That broke my heart, I suppose. It hurts to this day, and it will hurt for the rest of my life, I suppose. I thought it would never ever get beaten. 1984's crew, a great Portsmouth crew. But Devonport, as I've said before, they were like, I think good field gunners are like wine, they get better and better with age, and some of Devonport's men that won last year were the best that they've had, superb field gunners.
So tell me, is field gun as we know it from Royal Tournament, the field gun that you lived and breathed for so many years, is that dead?
No, not at all. I think there's a future for it. Not in its format, perhaps, performed in the Royal Tournament. Only a couple of weeks ago, the Field Gun Association, all civilians, marched with the field gun and limber around the streets of Portsmouth. We were tremendously well received, and I feel that there's a lot of people who would like to see it being performed in some criteria, not the car park here, but in some format in the future.
The legacy of the tournament is all around us, really. The first time they ever massed bands was at the Royal Tournament. The first time they massed pipes and drums and played military bands and pipes and drums together. All these things which we now take for granted. So the legacy of the tournament, if you like, goes on. Sadly, the things like the field gun have gone, but the King's Troop goes on, and the House of Cavalry Musical Ride go on, and its legacy is there. And perhaps in years to come, assuming we're allowed to keep the traditional aspects of our services and our country, for that matter, then the legacy of the tournament will be there, because people who know will know that all these things have been invented for something which is long gone, but in its day was the most exciting thing you could see in England, and throw millions and millions and millions of people over its history, and I think that's quite fun.